as investigators continue to gather evidence from a shooting that has taken the life of a young man.
I don't take a chance to open my windows.
It was just like about maybe 4 or 5 shots I heard. That's why I thought it was fireworks.
I'm just imagining how his family feels like hearing about this before Christmas.
This is where one life ended. A teenager just 16 years old, shot dead. His friend, another young man, only 15, also hit. He was rushed to hospital where he later died.
Wagwan, everybody. Welcome to our next episode of Talk the Things podcast. Welcome to season 6, episode 4. Today, we're going to be talking about Jane and Finch, specifically the Northside. We're going to be talking about like the Driftwood area. But the reason why it took me so long to do Jane and Finch is because, like I was saying in the Regent Park episode, it's such a popular place, right? You know, I don't want to talk about the places that are so popular. I want to bring out other blocks, them that people don't really talk about but have enough history. But we're going to talk about Jane and Finch today. And like I said, specifically the North Side. We're going to be doing a part 2 where we talk about the South Side. But we're just going to be talking about the North Side. And, you know, there's so much cases that's came out of just the North. I could imagine the South now. So with these two combined, I'm probably going to have about 30 cases because we have about, I don't even know, about 15 in this video. Bro, let's just get straight into the case then. But a lot of people have been wanting me to make longer videos. You know, they comment, you should make longer videos, longer videos. So this video is probably going to be a bit longer. And you guys let me know if you like them like this, if you like them shorter. But what I'm going to do in this video is start off with the cases that don't have as much information. I'm going to put those first. And then the more detailed cases where we have news clip and witness statement and surveillance footage, all those stuff, we're going to put in the later cases. So let's just get straight onto it, going all the way back to the early 90s. We're going to be talking about a person that went by the name of Marcy Anthony Bent. Oh, and the next thing that I want to say is I put a big C in my notes beside all of the cases that are cold cases, which is most of these cases. So he was 21 years old at the time of everything happened on May 7th, 1991, around 7 p.m. 911 got a call to 415 Driftwood. Now, they found a man shot in the hallway of the main floor. So I'm guessing this was at the lobby where they wound up transporting to hospital, but he died short after. Now, because this happened all the way back in 1991, it's practically impossible to find any like original news copy or news video or news clips from the time that this happened. All you can find is a little statement from the police because it's a cold case, so they still have all the information out. But that's all we have for this case. Moving on to case number 2, we're going to be talking about a person that went by the name of Andrew Gail. Now, this is also a cold case, and he was 27 years old at the time this happened on December 27, 2006. Now, I have a screenshot that I want to read you guys because, like I was saying, these are the cases that don't have much information at all. But this is what it says. On Wednesday, December 27, 2006, at about 6:40 p.m., police responded to a 911 call in the area of 404 Driftwood Avenue. The victim was discovered outside the Driftwood Community Center, suffering from gunshot wounds. Despite life-saving efforts by emergency personnel, the victim was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, once again, couldn't find no news clips or anything like that to put with this whole case. But I want to move on to the next one now, and we're going to be talking about a person that went by the name of Courtney Powell. Also, a next cold case. He was 23 years old at the time this happened on January 4th, 1999. I couldn't find nothing specifying and saying that this was true, but I believe that this was probably one of the first homicide, or if not the first homicide of 1999, because January 4th, there couldn't be too much homicide before that, but you never know. You know, people, look how much case we've covered where people's died on New Year's Day. Anyway, let me read you guys a screenshot of what the news said, just giving a quick overview of everything. And it says on Monday, January 4th, 1999, at about 10 p.m., police responded to a shooting in the area of Driftwood Avenue and Driftwood Court. The victim was discovered on the street suffering from gunshot wound. Despite life-saving effort by emergency personnel, the victim was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, I don't know if this person was born in Canada, but for some reason I have a strong feeling that he was born in Jamaica. Not just because of the last name, you know, Paulwell, well, not very popular, but the only people who I've heard with that last name were Jamaican people. But these cases are so old, we don't know. If anybody knows, just let me know in the comment section. But moving on to the third case now, where we're starting to pick up with the information because this was more recent to time. This was a case that I actually wanted to do, but I didn't do it by itself because it wasn't going to be long enough if I did it just by itself. But I said it would be perfect to put in a video like the TTC series where we talk about so much cases at once. And this case, let me read you guys this one. So we're gonna be talking about a person I went by the name of Peter Bowin. Now this is also a cold case. He was 20 years old at the time of this case that happened on February 22nd, 2009. Now around 7 p.m., Peter and two friends, so three people in total, were in the lobby of 345 Driftwood. That's a building. I'm gonna put it up on the screen here so you guys can see. And a third man winded up entering. Well, I guess you will say a fourth man winded up entering and was having a small convo with when two other men now winded up coming in. So remember, there's six of them now. The three friends, the one man, and then two more men that came in behind the first man that was just talking to Peter. Now we don't know exactly what it was that he said to Peter or what they were talking about. It just says that they were having a conversation. But before you know it now, the three niggas that came inside wind up pulling out gun and just started shooting down at Peter. Now I think the two friend them, I don't know if they were getting targeted at, but they ran away. They were able to run away and they were unharmed. But Peter now, the man them chase him down the first floor hallway. Boof, 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 boof. I have a couple pictures here. They shoot up the glass. Bare bullet was through the wall them and through the ceiling, shell casing spread out throughout the carpet, blood dashed down. So as he's running, trying to get away from him, and the man are chasing him down through the hallway, shooting him up, shooting him up, shooting him up. He winds up getting outside into the parking lot where he dropped down. So like I was saying earlier, the two friend them got away, but we don't know like where they were or if they were targeted too. But Peter wound up dying in hospital not too long after he got there. He was dead. But they were saying that for sure they believe that Peter was targeted. They're not sure why, but they're sure that he was targeted because it was them that those three niggas came to come kill. Couldn't find a video news clip because 2009, it's kind of far now, but that's all we have on the case with Peter Bowin. Moving on to the next case now, we're going to be talking about a person that went by the name of Andrew Bernett. And I'm not sure if this is what the man I'm calling, but I seen an article, I think, where they said they call him Bonds. Now, he was 24 years old at the time of this case that happened on September 10th, 2005. And I'm going to read you guys a screenshot now of what it says. On Saturday, September 2005, at about 2:54 p.m., police responded to a shooting in the area of Driftwood Avenue and Jane Street. The victim was discovered on a pathway suffering from a gunshot wound. Despite life-saving efforts by emergency personnel, the victim was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, I don't know what it is with these older mugshot pictures that just look so like, I don't want to say scary, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. If it's the camera quality, if it's just the way it makes the people them look. Like these pictures just look. Imagine me, who's researching these videos in the middle of the night, and your phone is filled up with bare pictures, and the people them are just looking in the camera like that. Like it looks. I don't know, bro. Some of these pictures, man, I'm telling you. Well, let's just move on to the next case because that's all we have with this case. I actually found a video before we move on to the next one. If you guys want to watch it, search up the name and you will see. I believe it was his little brother. They had a whole documentary about him and his little brother in 2006, right after he died. So if you guys want to see that, you guys can go watch that. It was done by CBC News. So the next case we're going to be talking about was a double homicide. And this happened with a person named O'Shea White. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. And he was 16 at the time of this case. And the next person's name was Kwame Daudu. I think I'm pronouncing that right. He was 15 years old at the time of this case that happened on August 23rd, 2013. So I want to read you guys a screenshot before I play you guys a news article talking about the case. And this is just detailing what happened. And it said on Friday, August 23rd, 2013, at about 1:29 p.m., police responded to a shooting at 287 Grand Raven Drive. The victim was discovered outside a townhouse complex common area suffering from gunshot wound. The victim was transported to hospital where he died. Shortly after arrival, the victim of homicide 39, 2013, which was Kwame. I seen one thing spell his name ending with an I and one thing ending with an E. I'm not sure how it's spelled, but they were saying Kwame Dodu was also discovered at the same location suffering from gunshot wound, and despite life-saving efforts by emergency personnel, Daudu was pronounced dead at the scene. So both of them was pronounced dead at the scene. I want to play you guys a news article now, make you guys hear Wagwan in regards to this whole case. And then we will come back with the next story.
Well, Toronto police have identified the victims of a fatal double shooting in the city's northwest yesterday. They were both teenagers. The CBC's Amanda Margison has the story.
This is where one life ended. A teenager just 16 years old, shot dead. His friend, another young man, only 15, also hit. He was rushed to hospital where he later died. It happened after lunch in the courtyard outside a public housing complex full of families.
It was just like about maybe 4 or 5 shots I heard. That's why I thought it was fireworks.
But when this neighbor came out of her house, it was too late. But there were witnesses, enough to give police some clues. Police say they're looking for 3 suspects who fled on bicycles. They say one is a black man and 2 are from the Somali community. Right now, police are looking at security camera footage from around this apartment complex, but they also say they need help from people living here.
Our investigations are only as good as the people that come forward, and this is a very tragic event. 2 young people have lost their lives.
Many in the community are reluctant to talk. They've seen gun violence here before, but 2 boys gone at such a young age is hitting a nerve. This neighbor knew them and says they were good kids, possibly in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I don't know, misunderstandings, and they're young, so they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to talk to someone or even try to communicate, so they take up the first thing, and violation, disrespect, and the first thing they probably draw for is like guns and all of that.
Police won't say whether the victims were known to police, and they're not sure of the motive. Right now, they are looking to talk to witnesses and the teenagers' families. Amanda Margison, CBC News, Toronto.
Alrighty, so you guys just seen that. Now we're going to be moving on to a case talking about a person that went by the name of Jamie Hagley. Now, he was 21 years old at the time of this case that happened on Christmas Eve, 2021. So that was December 24th. And I'm going to read you guys a quick news screenshot, and I'm going to play you guys the news article so you guys can get more information on what I want with this story. But it said, on Thursday, December 23rd, 2021, at approximately 9:37 p.m., police responded to a call for a shooting in the Grand Raven Drive and Driftwood area. It's reported that a man was located outside of a townhouse unit. He had been shot. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The victim has been identified as Jamie Hagley, 21, of Toronto. So let me play you guys the news article now, make you hear Wagwan, giving you more information with the case, and then we will move on to the next story.
Caution tape surrounds this North York townhouse complex as investigators continue to gather evidence from a shooting that has taken the life of a young man.
The 21-year-old man has died.
Police have identified the victim as 21-year-old Jamie Hagley. Officers located Hagley outside one of these units near Grand Ravine Drive and Driftwood Avenue just after 9:30 p.m. Thursday. They say he was pronounced dead at the scene.
It's tough, losing a friend.
Friends say these photos of Hagley were taken from when he was younger. Tonight, they are heartbroken.
He was a fun-loving person and everything. And what I mean by that is that, he saw the world really true. I'm just imagining how his family feels, hearing about this before Christmas.
I don't take a chance to open my windows.
Florinda Ramirez has been living here for 14 years, yet she continues to live in fear with her children.
I know a lot of things, but housing doesn't do anything. Police doesn't do anything. So it's really sad. My kids left me alone because they say, Mommy, let's move out from here. They'll always be afraid, but I cannot go to a safe place, right?
I just moved here.
A similar feeling across the street from the complex where this woman, who just moved in, is already getting security cameras installed.
I know it's a bad area, but I didn't think it was going to be so close to home, right outside my door.
Investigators are still looking for a suspect in connection to Hagley's death and are appealing for surveillance and dashcam video from the area.
It does need to stop. It's Christmas, Someone's going home and not having their child to go home to.
Now, this marks Toronto's 82nd homicide of the year. Today, we knocked on countless doors here in this townhouse complex. Many people had their blinds closed, and they were really reluctant to open
open their doors, let alone speak to us. It really just goes to show, Alan, the uncertainty and the insecurity that lingers here in this neighborhood just ahead of Christmas. Back to you.
Alrighty, you guys just heard that. Now we're going to be going on to our next double homicide. This was a person that went by the name of Deshaun Walters and Ibrahim Anduol. Now, one was 27 and one was 26 at the time of this case that happened on September 17, 2024. So this is not too long ago. This is just about a year ago. And I think by 2 days at the time of this recording, it will be exactly 1 year ago. So it says around 2:15 p.m. a fight broke out. The fight escalated until two men were shot, and the two men that were shot was Deshaun and Ibrahim. Now we don't know necessarily what the fight was about. But the fight picked up bad enough to where gunshots started to get fired. We don't know who started with who, excuse me. We don't know much about this fight. I haven't seen nothing that explained the fight. It just said that there was a fight. Now one was pronounced dead on the scene and the other one died on the way to hospital. So let me play you guys the news article now, make you guys hear what I go on with this story. Then we will come back with the next story.
Responded to a sound of gunshots in the area of Driftwood Avenue and Jane Street. When officers arrived on scene, they located two victims suffering from gunshot wounds. Sadly, one of those victims was pronounced deceased at the scene, while the second victim was transported to hospital via an emergency run. That individual has now been pronounced deceased, making this a double homicide. Officers also located two firearms on scene. I cannot identify the victims until their next of kin have been notified, but I can tell you that both victims were in their 20s. It would appear that this was an altercation between a group of people and gunshots broke out. The suspects then left the scene. We have no suspect descriptions to provide at this time. Local schools were placed in hold and secure, but that has subsequently been lifted.
And this is a very difficult situation. You know, to know that two people were just killed here, just steps away from us, is a horrible thing.
Speak to how many people you believe were involved in this altercation?
I don't have that information. Again, it's very early in the investigation. Our homicide investigators are responding.
Already, so you guys just heard that. Now moving on to the next story, we're going to be talking about a person that went by the name of Kareem Hani. Now he was 25 years old at the time of this case that happened on July 8th, 2018. And I want to read you guys a news clip because, like I said, some of the cases there really isn't much that we're going to find. Still, this is one of those cases, even though it's later on in the podcast, it's still one of those cases with not much info. So let me read you guys a screenshot now that says on Sunday, July 8th, 2018 at about 3:31 a.m., police responded to a shooting at 415 Driftwood Avenue. The victim was discovered near the street, suffering from gunshot wound, and despite life-saving efforts by emergency personnel, the victim was pronounced dead at the scene. Let me play you guys a little news video now, and then we will come back with the next case that I actually kind of find a little interesting. We're going to read this next case, but let's just watch this video, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so you guys just heard that news article. So I want to talk about now a person that went by the name of Donald Levy. Now, before I get into his case, I can't be sure because I've done so much TTC episodes now, but there was a case that I done. I believe it was Falstaff. Something's telling me that it was Falstaff. I was talking about a case that happened. And in that video, I was saying, there was a next man. I don't remember how it connected. You have to watch the video and see how it connected. But the people that wind up killing him. But listen to when I read the facts with this story, and you will see how it all goes. So he was 30 years old at the time of this whole case that happened on Friday, July 20th, 2012, around 9:43 p.m. Now, he didn't wind up dying until August 1st, even though he was shot or whatever on July 20th. It took him a little bit of time to pass away. He was in the hospital. But I want to read you guys the news screenshot. And then I'm going to read you guys the whole. Actually, I'm never going to read you guys that news screenshot. I'm just going to read you guys this whole long article that I found because it has everything that's in the news thing. So let's just start with reading. It says Donald Levy dodged 2 bullets and was scrambling to his car when his killers caught up to him and shot him execution style in the head as his 2-year-old child watched. Levy, 30, was transported to Sunnybrook Hospital on July 20th in critical condition and died of his injuries Wednesday. Toronto police said Thursday Levy was hanging out with a group of people drinking on Driftwood Court near Jane Street and Finch Avenue when someone tried to rob him of his gold chain. The large chain, which had diamond-studded cross attached, hung down to Levy's belly button and was worth about $1,000. Now that's back in 2012 times, because I feel like it would have been a lot more now. When his killers tried to snatch it, Levy fled and his killers started firing at him. Detective Paul Warden of the homicide squad said Thursday. Warden said the first 2 shots nearly missed Levy as he fled towards his vehicle, his car, where his girlfriend and 2-year-old child sat. Levy tripped, fell to the ground by the car, and his killers came around the corner and fired a final shot into his head. The gruesome murder outside Toronto Community Housing Complex at 9 Driftwood Court was caught on camera. The footage, along with tips from the community, has led to persons of interest in the case, and detectives are trying to track them down, said Warden. Warden added, the area is known to be the stomping ground of the Driftwood Crip, a violent gang. Blah, blah, blah. I don't really get into the whole gang thing. I don't want to read too much of that. But it says, a warden said some of the people drinking that night may have gang affiliation. Some witnesses have not come forward because they fear retaliation, said Warden. Noting the motive for the murder was theft, Warden said, Levy of Brampton was also known to frequent the area and was known to police. Levy's murder is the 32nd murder this year. That's all that we have on that case with Donald Levy. And I want to go on to the last case that we have, which was a very popular case, and I believe one of the most recent cases to come out of Driftwood. We're going to be talking about a person. I'm just going to call him Adu B. I really can't pronounce the last name. Even when I hear them say it, I can't repronounce it. So we're just going to say B. He was 39 years old at the time of this case that happened on February 17, 2024. Now, he was from Ghana and he just came up to Canada not too long before he wound up dying. I think they said it was like 4 months or something like that. He had like a daughter or something, and that's what he came up here to do, was to take care of his family. He was at the bus stop in Driftwood when he was just randomly shot. The man just shot him and killed him. Now, news article make you guys hear what they're saying about this case, and I'm gonna come back with my final thoughts about the whole video.
For the 4 children and wife of Adu Boakye, the pain of his death is still fresh.
And I started crying. He was once a good father to me and his family.
Boakye's oldest son vows to take care of his younger brothers and his mother as best he can, but their future is uncertain.
You don't have anything, because my father was the breadwinner for the family, and then for his son and then wife and then his mother.
On Saturday, the funeral is planned for the 40-year-old father who was killed in a pair of random shooting attacks back in February in the Jane and Finch neighborhood. A 16-year-old waiting for the bus was critically injured after being shot in the face by the same suspect, but he survived. Boakye had only been working in his new job at a warehouse for a couple of weeks before he was killed in the random attack. His goal was to support his family back home.
When anything happened to a Ghanaian, we support any way we can.
The Ghanaian Canadian Association of Ontario helped the family find a place to stay, and they're currently looking for some longer-term accommodations.
This is just an innocent person who just came to the country, I think a month or two, and, minding his business and was shot. And they have nobody to really take care of them when they go back. So we're going to see what, the government can do for them because, their father is a victim here.
No arrests have been made. Toronto police said there are no new updates in the case, but they're still welcoming any tips from the public. Back in February, police said the attacks were carried out randomly by the same suspect or suspects.
Whenever someone who commits a crime like that is at large, I think we all feel at risk.
At the time of the attacks, community members, politicians, and police went on a prayer walk to honor the victims, build connections, and call for change. Councillor Anthony Peruzza says a number of community safety meetings also took place.
It would make us all feel a lot safer knowing that an individual who is capable of committing this kind of heinous crime.
Alrighty, so you guys just heard that. Now, my final thoughts on this whole video is, first of all, rest in peace to everybody who died. Second, now, this one sounds a lot more, compared to the Regent Park, I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Like, do you think that most people in this video sounds like they were involved in something, and that's why what happened to them happened to them? Do you feel like they were just in the wrong place at the wrong time, being in Driftwood? What do you think about Driftwood and the South? Which one do you think is worse? Because next video, now part 2, we're gonna talk about South. And yeah, that's what we have on this episode. This episode, it was a little bit longer because of how much cases there was, and I know I'm not going to be able to catch all the cases all the time, but let me know what you guys think about this whole episode down below. Let me know if I was missing out anything or have anything wrong. Just let me know once again what you think about this episode, and we will talk next time on Talk the Things podcast.